Hey, yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I've got another one of these submissions where somebody sent this in and said, hey, tell me how I could have won this battle. Well, you know, that's fraught with danger, but we're going to tackle it anyway. T-34 trades badly from the clan DHO. Tier 5 in a Tier 6 and 5 battle. And he is here on Westfield, spawned into the southwest. He will go up to the middle. All right, so the question, it's always the question, how could I have won this battle? Sometimes it's fairly obvious. Sometimes it's fairly nuanced. Sometimes it has multiple answers. Almost always it has multiple answers. But it all starts with initial positioning and just how you're coming at the game. So we go to this middle support spot here and start blasting away, which fair enough. We're getting damage, we're hitting bad guys. And we can shoot across over to the east side, and we can sort of shoot to the northwest, but not really, unless our team loses. If our team loses in the northwest, then we have supporting fires that come over the hills, up there at about C3 or so. So, people will go to this spot, and the idea is that, well, it's a supporting fire spot. I have shots in lots of different directions. Well, not really. You have shots over here, on the east side, if they're foolish enough to be out in the open and allow you to have those shots. Those are the shots that you have. Now we're going to dive down into the bottom. So I bring all that up because the question, how could I have won this game, starts with your initial position, what the critical terrain on the map is, and how a map is usually won. In 2019, with the maps we have, you are not going to find a new way to win. The metas are established. They just are. That's the way it is. So the question becomes then, how am I fighting the established meta on this map? And what is it doing in relation to me winning or losing? Well, we've gone to a pretty meta support spot, and we've got some damage. We've got 463, got a kill. Nice job avoiding that shot. Looks like maybe the Hellcat or the M4 try to take a shot at you there. And we've done a decent job, but look what's going up on, look what's going on up in the northwest. You've completely lost. You've completely lost the northwest, and all of a sudden, this spot is untenable. I didn't talk about it, but let's count noses down here in the bottom of the map. There are 3 of you here. 1, 2, 3. There's another guy there. 4. And there's 2 over there. 5, 6. 6 tanks. 6. 1/3. Over 1/3, actually. Math in public. Plus the artillery are all sort of supporting, right? Bunch of them went over to the east. Now, to be fair, they stopped a good glob of guys from just pushing through, and there will always be somebody who goes to the east. But you've lost wholesale up in the northwest. So my first comment about how you could have won this game is to have gone to the critical terrain up in the northwest. Now, I'm going to get pushback on that because there are a lot of people who don't believe that, especially in a relatively low hit point, bottom tier medium, that you should not go up to the northwest and brawl with the heavies. But you have to take that into consideration as to what other tanks are on there. And while they did have a Tiger 131, you had some other beef up there as well. And the problem with your spot now is you've lost, and this position's untenable, and now you're in a pit. And you're going to flex over here. So the first thing I would say about how you would have won this is to put yourself up in the critical terrain and help them win up in the northwest. That spot where you were already had 2 TDs hanging out at it. You had plenty over in the east. Really, your gun should have been up in the northwest, and ideally maybe a couple others of those would have been up there to make sure that you didn't lose up there in the northwest. But now that it has been lost, what do we do? Well, I see you flex back, and I would disagree with this. I thought you were going to initially go for this bush right here. And I figured, well, that's okay. You got some cover. There's a little bit of terrain there. You can dive down below, not much. You might even be able to run away back around the edge. But you're in this pit, and all of a sudden we find the RBFM, and he nails you once, and we're trying to get away from him. He actually nails you twice, unbelievably. That one bounces, thank goodness. And now we're trapped in this corner, and we're fighting uphill, and that is never easy. Never easy at all. So we're going to come up here. This RBFM comes at us, and goodness gracious, he really wants to get a shot on us. I'm not really sure what the view was there. That was strange, but you do get rid of that dude. Really, one of the few tanks that actually out DPMs or out shoots as far as fire rate goes. The RBFM is this one. Well, I believe you're running the 57mm here, I would imagine. Yes. So, nice job there. We're going to get a shot on the Tiger 131. We light them on fire, but we're not able to actually burn them down. We're kind of taking shots. That does not break, so that's not a breakable building. And I wouldn't hang out there too long because the artillery is going to get interested in you pretty soon. We're going to see shots start to come down in there. So what would I have done? I think I would have fallen back up into this area, but it looks like your guys got pushed. What you did is that supporting fire you had, you moved it away and came over here, and then they got pushed and killed, and your guys hanging out on this edge got pushed because you weren't able to hold the northwest. They got lit and killed in the crossfire, and now you're just fighting a losing battle at this point. There's the artillery who got really interested in you right there. I think I would have probably fallen back up to the top up here and seen if I can't hold these guys off, or maybe kill them, clear them out, because you've got to go one flank or the other to clear it out so that you're not down in this pit here. But really, for me, the real answer is you needed to be where the critical fight was, and you just weren't. So we got the Tiger. Actually fires HE and leaves you 5 hit points, which is amazing. And you end up killing him. Good job with that. I think on this, instead of diving back down, I'd have just gone up and taken the chance that the Stug hadn't moved up anywhere. You can also move along this ridge line here fairly safely until you get near the top, and there are some bushes. You might have even caught the Stug out somewhere up here, being a little bit silly. But we're going to dive down, maybe thinking about artillery. Right now, though, you're just driving into a crossfire. The Stug coming from behind, and these two guys over there. Artillery actually knows which way you're going, so you did telegraph the direction because he fired where you were headed. Either you were still spotted, or someone sees you now, but I think you were just still spotted for a few potatoes after the kill, and he did some good guesswork. Now we're going to come here, and this is just one of those carry situations. You got to take a chance. Just hiding back here, it's too easy for the Stug to come out here and light you and see you. I might have just come up top and headed for these buildings and just hope for the best, finding this bloody Stug, and then deal with the M4 and the Hellcat. You know where they are. They're down here. This guy's, that's a stale light. He hasn't been seen for a long time. God knows where he's gone. I would have taken my chance against one Stug rather than either go against an M4 and a Hellcat, or put myself in between the crossfire here and just hang out. Kind of an interesting series here towards the end game. And, you know, when I started this, I said that it's always an interesting discussion when people ask me how I could have won the game, because it goes to what your goals are. As a general rule, I always come into the games trying to win it, but there's other goals. There's a mission, maybe. There's the possibility that I might be trying to 3-mark or 2-mark, so in which case I'm just really looking for damage and assist. It's unfortunate you already didn't actually hit him very well, because he's going to leave a hit point on him, and then that one missed. And we get one shot and then we die. So going into the game, that's the question: what is your goal? I'm going to assume that your goal is generally to win. So if your goal is generally to win, you need to get to the critical terrain, or at least to a supporting position of the critical terrain, so that you can help your team win. And that would have been, if you didn't really want to get up there and brawl with them a bit, maybe over here to be able to support in there, and then come in as a medium with some mobility to machine gun down near deads, things like that. This position, you see a lot of really good players go to it, but it's more of a farming position, and it really requires your team to stuff them here a little bit and get you lights, and to win up here. Once they win up here, this becomes an untenable position, very difficult to hold, and is now exposed to crossfire from several directions right there. So for me, the general answer is get to the critical position, to the critical terrain, and help the team win the game. If you are just 3-marking, or you look at it and go, this is a bad setup. Some people use XVM. They'll go, oh, my heavies are terrible. I'm not going up to the northwest. I'm going to be more of a farmer. All right, fair enough. But if that's the mindset, then you really can't ask the question, how could I have won? Because that train left the station. The how could I have won train's already gone. Now, you can take time slices of this battle and go, from this position, what should I have done? From this position, what should I have done? And we talked a little bit about that right there. That has less, as far as turning things into a win, effect than going all the way to the beginning of the game and saying, all right, what's the totality of this game? How is it that I fight this game? What was my first decision that was good, bad, or indifferent? So it just depends on which way you're coming at it. I generally assume, if somebody asks me, how could I have won this? Well, this is interesting. One more little theory here. One more way to look at it. Some people will send me a replay and say, at minute X, what could I have done to win this game? And that's where I'm talking about the time slice. And whether they're actually asking me that question or whether they're actually asking me how could I have won this game as a holistic, kind of depends on the person and whether they really understand the idea that every decision they made from clicking battle mattered to winning that game. Maybe even before that, crew setup, equipment I've got, do I have camo on the tank? All those little tiny things, they all add together and turn it into a win or not. So I usually in that case try to say, all right, you asked me from minute this, but let's back it up from the beginning of the battle and see what things back there may have affected point X that you're asking me about. But we can definitely talk about from point X how you might have been able to pull this thing out, because maybe there's just some little thing that would have made a difference in there. Well, there you go. That's quite a bit on that. Thanks for sending that in. I do appreciate it. There, Trades Badly from Clan DHO and his T-34. Not a bad game. 1175, 115 bounced. And, I think really, bottom line, you should have been up in the Northwest helping your team win up there. You could always fall back, especially if you're hanging out over here on the edge. You could always fall back from there and get down to this backfield, or maybe even if you're fast enough, get all the way back up to the hill there. Or if you win, you can always come down here and start doing that crossfire or push in here, all that good stuff. But really, critical terrain, I think, is your answer here. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I do appreciate it. Leave your comments down below. I always get different comments on this map because this is one of the maps that does have several valid ways to win. I just happen to think the Northwest is the most important. Some people do not. So I will be interested to hear what you guys say. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. As always, we will see ya.